And then I learned during my divorce really how to budget myself very, very well. You just must have had a different priority.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today is just another shorter video where I talk about some of the stuff I have learned about the Brown family from McKelty and Tony. They do recaps and they share stuff on Patreon. Some of it is not necessarily super interesting, like it's not stuff I would leave and go talk about, but some of it is, and I want to share some of that information with you guys. First of all, in this last episode, not everything was taking place around the same time. McKelty said that the part where Cody was talking about Mary and he said 8 weeks ago she went to the church to get a release. McKelty says that's actually from about a year ago, which is kind of interesting because it said in episode 1 the show was filmed in late 2022. That was when filming started. So this stuff didn't all happen around the same time, which is one of my biggest gripes when it comes to TLC. I really wish they would just share even a month or this season. They could put spring 2022, fall 2023. So it sort of makes sense and we understand when everything happened, but they don't, of course. So I just wanted to throw that in there for you guys. Not everything was happening around the same time in that last episode. McKelty and Tony were asked about Robyn having a nanny. Of course, that is something that's just brought up again and again. But McKelty said Robyn frequently needed help before the nanny entered the picture. So before there was a nanny, we know that McKelty helped Robyn watch her kids. And then before that, Robyn depended on her siblings and I guess her sister was around. Even before she entered the family, she needed help with the kids. She was a single mom with 3 kids, right? But McKelty does talk about something that I thought was interesting. That in itself isn't that interesting. Most of us already know that. But McKelty said a huge issue when it came to Robyn having a nanny versus the other moms having a nanny was that in the original moms' houses, like Mary, Janelle, and Christine, in their homes, those older kids were used to watching younger kids. And she talks about how she called Aspen mom. She called Aspen mom when she was growing up because the moms had to watch the kids. And she mentions Logan as well. Logan took on some of the parenting. And I talked about this in one of my 15-minute recaps. I cannot remember which episode it was, but it's the one where they go camping. There's a part where Cody's not there. And Christine, it's the honeymoon episode. What am I talking about? It's the honeymoon episode. Cody's on his honeymoon with Robyn and they're out having a picnic. They're grilling food outside, and Janelle and Christine and Mary talk about how Logan fills in when Cody's not there. So McKelty's bringing it up. She is saying, our moms didn't have nannies, but all of us grew up knowing that we had to help. We had to do some of the work in the household. Robyn's kids didn't have that experience, so they didn't grow up helping the way we had to. And McKelty said a lot of that was due to finances. Their moms could not afford to go pay nannies and babysitters, so they had to do what they had to do. And then when Robyn entered the family, she, according to McKelty, prioritized having the money for a nanny. But by that time, it wasn't necessary for the original 3 moms. That is how McKelty explained it. Not me, you guys, McKelty. I don't want a bunch of comments telling me how wrong I am about that part. I am just telling you what she expressed when she was watching this episode. But I am going to give you my opinion here, and you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. I don't think it's a coincidence that Aspen and Logan are holding off on having children. I said holding off. Maybe they've decided not to have kids. I really don't know. But I'm just saying they're not doing it. They're not rushing into that. They don't want that at this point in their lives. Maybe they don't ever. I don't think that's a coincidence. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comments. So the next thing I'm going to bring up is less an opinion and more a question for you guys. I know that some of you are really, really good at recalling certain stuff from, older seasons. I easily forget the small things and focus just on the big stuff. So I want to know if something McKelty said was true. In this last episode, Janelle makes the comment that Mary started that B&B with her own money. I remember that season. I remember Mary going to the family and asking for money. I remember that meeting. I can almost see it in my mind. But McKelty was watching this last episode and said Mary had to take a loan from the family account. And then she says something like, I think there was even an episode about it. Did Mary borrow money from the family? My memory is that it didn't go through. She did it all on her own. Like they were not interested in investing, so she was out there on her own. Did she take a loan from them? When I think back to that season, what I remember the most is Mary sitting in that family meeting and how everyone reacted. And all I can really recall is how much I disliked Cody. Like, that is my memory of that time. So maybe I just overlooked it. And I could go back and watch it, but I know some of you are really good at like pointing out, or some of you are rewatching and maybe you've just rewatched that time. Let me know if Mary got money from the family. At the beginning of this video, I put that clip in of Robyn talking about how she has learned to budget.
To always be surprised.
McKelty did give some information
how nice her backyard was.
That.
It was completely finished, and
First
there
of
was
all,
always like stuff at her
much
house.
like
and I'm
Janelle,
like, wow,
McKelty agrees that Cody had to be contributing to Robyn and her household. You know, she says she strongly believed Cody helped them buy nice things because it just doesn't add up. Like, Robyn had more than her income could provide. I'm going to add in a clip of Janelle talking about that just to remind everyone of what was said in the last episode. Janelle is there. You heard her pointing out that Robyn just seems to have more at her house. She has her yard all done. It just seems like she has a lot. Probably more than her budget could afford. So McKelty does think her dad is helping pay for that, but she also talks about how they spend money differently. And that was what Robyn was saying in this show is you may prioritize your money differently. McKelty says her mom likes to travel. Her mom likes experiences. That is what is important to her, where Robyn doesn't. McKelty says when Robyn and her kids travel, they'll go to Sedona. Sedona is like an hour away from Flagstaff. It's not far. They're not traveling to some exotic destination, so she doesn't spend her money in that way. But with that being said, McKelty still thinks her dad is giving Robyn money because it just doesn't add up. Robyn has more than she can afford. McKelty also talked about them working, and I was blown away by the amount of MLMs they have been involved in. I mean, I knew about LuLaRoe and I knew about Plexus. Maybe I just hadn't paid attention to how many things they have tried to hustle. She mentioned Thrive, Live International. I feel like there was another one, but I could be wrong. My point is, they're doing all these MLMs. She says Robyn did My Sister Wife's Closet, but then she never did anything else. And McKelty says a part of that, she believes, is because Robyn likes privacy. She doesn't want to be out there on social media. She doesn't want to be dealing with trying to sell things to the public. So according to McKelty, some of that is probably just Robyn's personality and not wanting to make money that way. Listen, I understand that she doesn't want to be involved in an MLM. A lot of people wouldn't want to. I can even understand being someone introverted and saying, I don't want to go work with the public. I don't want to do that. 100% get it. But why doesn't Robyn ever acknowledge that the other women were bringing in income? Why doesn't she ever say that? They have more money than she does, but she seems to have more stuff. There's a point where it doesn't matter what you prioritize. It doesn't make sense. And that is what I feel like is happening with Robyn. It just doesn't add up. And the very last thing that I want to talk about is Brianna and Aurora.
That I was not accepted, that I was not their sister, that they didn't consider or see me that way.
Every time I see those two, all I can think is, I hope they move out of Robyn and Cody's house. I think they would do so much better away from those two. But anyway, in this episode, we hear them claim that they were told they're not a part of the family, they're not viewed as sisters, they're not treated fairly. We hear them say that The adults should have done a better job of bringing the family together. According to McKelty and Tony, they agree that this is something that could have happened, and Tony says we shouldn't discount what they are saying because that was their experience. Do I think it's possible that the original Brown children, the ones that were there before Robyn entered the picture, had some issues with these new kids being brought into the family? Absolutely. They were not getting the things they needed. They were not getting enough time with their dad. Their family was struggling, and all of a sudden, there are new kids there. I'm sure it didn't go smoothly. But it feels like at some point, they would have started moving past that. But I imagine it's really hard to do when your mother keeps bringing it up or keeps pointing it out. I think it benefited Robyn to keep pointing out issues, even small ones. I think it benefited her to keep bringing things up because Cody would then give her attention. And then Cody would have a problem with everyone else. And it would be poor Robyn and poor Robyn's kids. So how could these two girls get past that if they keep having to relive it in their household? I really think everything would be different if this show ended. This show didn't make them relive things, and maybe these two girls got out of the house and they didn't have to hear from Cody and Robyn all the time. They might have different relationships with the other kids in this family. That's just my opinion, though. McKelty, when she is talking about this, she does point out that when she was growing up, she felt left out. And that is something that's brought up back in those early seasons on the show. McKelty doesn't really fit in with the older kids, but she's not one of the little girls either. And she said there was a time all the older kids went to Oprah, but she didn't get to go. And then there would be things the little girls all did, but she was like too old for that. So she didn't fit in with them either. And she felt very left out. So she says when it comes to Aurora and Brianna, she understands that they might have felt that way. But you know what she didn't have? She didn't have a mom that dwelled on it and got some sort of benefit out of bringing it up. That's what makes it different. She also grew up and moved out of the house, so she didn't have to be in this family drama all the time. Of course, those are just my opinions, but you guys can let me know what your opinions are down in the comments. If you haven't already, I hope you'll click subscribe and like. I appreciate all of the support I get here at this little channel. I love reading your guys' comments, so leave as many as you like. And I hope you'll come back next week. I'm going to be recapping episode 3 from season 19 of Sister Wives.